Hello, world, and welcome to the Shannon Joy Show. We're broadcasting live from the Joy Virtual Studio right here in the beautiful Finger Lakes region of New York State. It is so great to be with all of you today. It is Wednesday, the epicenter of yet another very busy broadcast week. We are going to welcome into the Joy Virtual Studio for the first time, a little bit later on the Shannon Joy Show, an amazing woman. Her name is Laura Bartlett, and she has set up the Hospital Hostage Hotline. If any of you have worried about losing your rights the second you or a loved one enters the medical industrial complex or a large hospital system, you've seen the horror stories across the country of medical kidnappings of children and people being, locked down on COVID floors. There is a big problem within our system today. People don't trust our institutions. They don't trust the medical industrial complex. And tragically, many Americans don't trust their own doctors. Well, there is a way for you to gain peace of mind, and that is understanding your rights when you enter the medical industrial complex or the hospital system. So Laura, she's an amazing woman. She set up this hotline. She has helped so many families across the United States of America extract their loved ones from toxic hospital situations. But that's not it. She's also created a complete template, a way for you to understand your rights and prepare in case you ever enter the hospital with an completely bulletproof document that you can customize for yourself and your family that lets the hospital know and puts them on notice that you are going to get the care that you decide you want to have. And they are in no way, shape, or form allowed to give you any medications, any procedures, any vaccines, any medical interventions against your will. This preparation is what we talk about all the time on the Shannon Joy Show. We know that we cannot wait for political heroes to sweep in or swoop in and save us. We know that the second we give them power and they go to Washington, D.C., they betray us. And we are beginning to understand here in the U.S. that the answers are going to come from we the people, the bottom up. Those of us organizing and activating at the local and state level, and also being super prepared. Being prepared with enough food to last if there's a natural disaster, or energy solutions if there is some event. Prepared enough to, protect your finances with physical gold and silver, and also prepared enough to, understand if you were to go into the hospital that you can have some peace of mind. This is a totally free program that she gives away. It's amazing. And I cannot wait to talk to Laura Bartlett today a little bit later in the program. So we have a big show for you today. You see the headline: the Elon Musk America Party Psyop has been deployed. The mission is, in my opinion, a fake independent movement, false hope, and diffused outrage. We're going to talk about all of the betrayals. If you are mad about Donald Trump or Bobby Kennedy Jr. betraying so many of their promises in such a breathtaking fashion, it is not, you are not alone. This is a sentiment that we're seeing sweep across the nation. And it's one of the reasons that I believe that this new psyop has been deployed. It's not real, but we're going to get into it. As you guys know, Elon Musk is, in my opinion, one of the worst political actors on the scene today. He poses as a protector of free speech, yet his own platform engages in continued censorship. As we know, Linda Yaccarino, on the twit, you have freedom of speech, but not of reach. That in and of itself is censorship. And thousands of Twitter users, including myself, are censored on a regular basis. So even, the hallmark, what he hangs his hat on as the protector of freedom in the US, is a lie. But there are a lot of other things about Elon Musk that people should be concerned about. Now, this America Party, it was all over Twitter yesterday. It is now the dividing line as we are seeing MAGA and MAHA break apart. Not because of outside organizations or independent broadcasters like myself who are calling them out every day on their betrayals. No, they're breaking apart because they are betraying their promises. They're also gaslighting the American people and going back on all of the campaign promises that they made just a short 6 or 7 months ago. So this is why you're seeing both of these movements, which I also think are psyops. So if you watch the Shannon Joy show, I don't think that MAGA was a real movement. I don't think that MAHA was a real movement. I think MAGA was created to co-opt the conservative Tea Party, America First movement. I think that MAHA was created as a psyop to infiltrate and control the medical freedom movement that rose up out of the dark days and the dystopian days of COVID-19 lockouts and the rollout of the poisoned shots. So from the very beginning, I have been explaining this to this audience. We've been doing this for 12 years. It ain't my first rodeo, and we've seen this done over and over and over. So we're absolutely prepared when the latest psyop comes in, as their duplicity and their treachery is exposed. And it's being exposed faster and faster. People are waking up to it faster and faster. And this is why you always see this new crop of influencers, oligarchs, billionaires, and actors come onto the scene to engage in what I believe is a false hope and diffused outrage operation. So this is funded by Elon Musk's America PAC currently. It's the new movement. I think it will also serve as the vessel to absorb angry MAGA MAHA defectors and also usher in the global techno-fascism that we've been warning you about for many, many months and years here on the Shannon Joy Show. At the forefront of this movement are characters like the arch technocrat himself. His grandfather was the inventor of technocracy. This is a techno-fascist movement. It is a global movement. It is a godless movement. It is anti-democracy, anti-natural rights, anti-free speech, and anti-humanity in a lot of ways when you look into the transhumanism aspects of the technocracy. Elon Musk is a card-carrying member born into this oligarchical structure through his grandfather. So make no mistake, Elon Musk, he was part of the PayPal mafia. He aligns with Peter Thiel. He has been embraced on the left and on the right, but for all the wrong reasons. This movement, as I mentioned, I think is going to be that vessel. You have Elon Musk. Nicole Shanahan has weighed in on the new political party, the America First Party, or the America Party. Also, Mark Cuban, the billionaire from Florida, and Democrats like Andrew Yang. As you know, yesterday, we also reported that Elon Musk is now wooing Congressman Tom Massie with lots of money to fund his next political campaign, as Massie takes on full frontal assaults from MAGA and the Trump administration because he is pushing back against the big, beautiful bill. MAGA is cracking because of the big, beautiful bill. Make no mistake, right? And they are ready to catch all of those defectors, all of the dissidents, those who are disillusioned now with MAHA and MAGA. Well, we have a fresh new party with billions, if not trillions of dollars to underwrite this movement, this fake movement, and they are going to play themselves off as independents. That's what really caught my attention yesterday when I looked into the tweets and I looked into Elon Musk now polling and pushing out all of the signals that they are going to build this party. They are going to try to co-opt the independent movement. The movement that we've built, right? We have been doing this doggedly now, the uniparty, unibrow rhetoric, everything I've been talking about with you all for 12 years, right, is all coming true. And now they're going to embrace that, but they're going to twist it and divert it. And that's what we see happen with these psyop movements time and time again, right? There is nothing new under the sun. This is Groundhog Day political hell. I have seen this show one too many times, and we are going to crack that open and discuss it today on the Shannon Joy Show. So we're going to get into that. Also, I have linked you in the show notes today to a few threads, very, very important threads. I am working my way through the Bobby Kennedy Jr. Tucker Carlson interview. I'm listening to it and re-listening to it. It's such an important interview for all of the wrong reasons. It really shows, and there are many instances and examples of the highly sophisticated limited hangout and propaganda, psychological propaganda that has been really a hallmark of recent politics here in the US. And so, I at first glance, I listened to the interview and I was like, oh, I have a lot of problems here, a lot of problems there. Talked about that yesterday. But as I've dug in and paid more attention, there are a lot of problems, to the extent that I think I'm going to do an entire show on it next week with full sound bites, so that we can begin to understand how they trick us and how they deceive us and how they give us false hope and confuse us and make the solutions so complicated that no one can ever really grasp what the solution is. And then they dangle that carrot in front of you month after month after month until the movement and the party has broken apart and they have gotten away once again with never, ever making good on the promises that they made during an election cycle. And so I think that's going to be very important. But there was one bombshell that I wanted to bring to your attention, and this is linked in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show. This is from a very small Twitter account. I think he only has 283 or so Twitter followers, but the name is Uriel Cohen 13. And I have posted this out on my Twitter feed. This is very important. This is a bombshell that Bobby Kennedy Jr. dropped in that Tucker Carlson interview that no one picked up on, but it's incredibly important. This was his headline, and this is the quote. Secretary Kennedy said in that interview that the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, now run by Marty Makary, is going to accelerate drug approvals for big pharma and likely big tech, because we know that biosurveillance and transhumanism is a major theme of this administration, and it is now weaving its way into HHS. We heard Bobby Kennedy Jr. last week begin to groom the nation for the idea of every American on a wearable, a biosurveilling wearable technological device that will monitor the systems in their body and likely capture them and surveil. Okay, so this is a big problem, right? So RFK Jr. said in this interview that he said that they're going to accelerate. So think Operation Warp Speed, think fast tracking, SAMRNA, with AI. So they're going to accelerate drug approvals with artificial intelligence by skipping, I kid you not, animal trials. Okay, that would de facto. So what they're saying is they are going to use artificial intelligence to skip animal trials to fast track pharmaceutical and likely biomedical devices, bring them to the American public, put them on the market, likely manipulate or coerce Americans into accepting these devices or pharmaceutical products, thus making them de facto human trials. Okay. So if they skip animal trials, they're going straight to the humans, which is exactly what we saw with Operation Warp Speed and the disaster that was the rollout of the COVID-19 shots. They were essentially human trials, skipping all of the pre-trials, all of the animal trials. Bobby Kennedy Jr. is saying in this interview that they are going to expand that exact process. So not only are we going to get a reckoning, justice, another look at what they did to us and why everything went wrong, they are pressing the pedal to the metal. This is what he said in that clip. Here's the quote. Even that system is antiquated. He's talking about animal trials and the system that we have used in the past, that we skipped with COVID to bring drugs safely to market. He said this, Even that system, this is Bobby Kennedy Jr. in the interview with Tucker Carlson that I don't think anyone has reported yet. Even that system, said Bobby Kennedy, it's antiquated because now we have access to artificial intelligence. We are creating here at HHS an artificial intelligence and AI revolution. Quote, this is what Bobby Kennedy said in that Tucker Carlson interview. He goes on, we are at the cutting edge of AI. We are implementing it on all of our departments. In FDA, quote, we are accelerating drug approvals so you don't need to use primates or even animal models. You can do the drug approvals very quick with artificial intelligence, with AI, okay? That is a massive statement. That has horrifying ramifications. That is worse. This is not better than what was going on at HHS under the Biden administration. This is not better than what was happening during 2020 under Donald Trump and his administration and Fauci. This is worse. This is taking everything that they have done and making it infinitely worse, using AI models and AI decision making. Okay? If you couple this statement with the provision in the big beautiful bill that grants immunity and protection to all AI implementation models, governmental and from private corporations and contractors, that is a feature. Now, it was reported that that provision was removed. I am not celebrating that yet. It is still very confusing as to whether that provision is still in the big beautiful bill. But when you couple what Robert Kennedy Jr. said in this statement on Tucker Carlson with that provision that creates the immunity, the liability protection, the same liability protection that he has fought against concerning pharma for the entirety of his career, you can see that they are making this dramatically worse. Dramatically worse. I would love to see someone acknowledge this within MAHA or the medical freedom movement. This is a big deal. In addition, so this is linked. I'm pretty sure I linked it in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show. If I didn't, make sure you're following me on Twitter. My handle is @ShannonJoyRadio. That's @ShannonJoyRadio. We also have an unbelievable thread, okay? An unbelievable thread from Champagne Yoshi, another independent aggregator on the Twit. And it's a mega thread. I have linked that in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show today. I also have pushed it out on my Twitter account. This is going deeper and deeper into Susan Moneras. She is Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s hand-picked candidate to run the CDC. And according to Champagne Yoshi, his handle on Twitter is @JoshWalkos, WALKOS. She is not a doctor, number one. She is not a frontline scientist, number two. She is a biotech insider who has spent 20 years building public-private partnerships between the federal government, big tech, and big pharma. She is pulling all of this together, right? Here's just a snippet of what Champagne Yoshi had to say about Susan Moneras. At BARDA HHS, she helped stand up, and all of this is linked on the mega thread that he provided. At BARDA, which is HHS, she helped stand up Project BioShield, which funneled billions in pharmaceutical countermeasures for theoretical CBRN, that was chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear threats. BARDA, as we know, stands for Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority. This is under the purview, I believe, this is at HHS, but a lot of these agencies work hand in hand in tandem with Department of Defense. Project BioShield is the same program that gave us the shady COVID vaccine contracts and the same one that built the pandemic industrial complex, which is still in place today. Okay. Operation Warp Speed in 2020 used BARDA. Again, this is Susan Moneras, RFK's hand-picked head for CDC. She has not been confirmed yet because there was so much blowback, but she has not been replaced. So they're preparing to, on the DL, I think, usher her in. She was the one who helped create the BARDA that actually developed Operation Warp Speed and was its funding hub, deploying over $2 billion to vaccine developers, including Moderna and AstraZeneca. Okay? He goes on, as a senior BARDA official, Maneras was part of the team empowering the system, allocating billions to private firms and navigating accelerated pathways, right? So the early choices enabled rapid COVID contracts, later executed under Operation Warp Speed and Project Next Gen. These are mechanisms that she embodied and championed. In short, according to Josh, Project BioShield and BARDA created a fast track pipeline that handed pharmaceutical companies both millions in contracts and regulatory bypass. Plus, I'll add this, liability protection before any of the full evidence emerged. Under her leadership at BARDA and then later ARPA, which is even more disturbing and terrifying, okay? She became an integral part of that model. The system that Susan Maneras built, she is Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s hand-picked choice for the director of CDC. The system that she helped build was weaponized during COVID-19, and those same tools are now back at the CDC. And this is part of Josh's thread. Every bit of this is hyperlinked, so you can check and double check this entire thread. It goes on. As previously mentioned, she started under Obama. By the way, she was groomed for this. She herself was put into a pipeline after she finished medical, I'm pretty sure it was medical school. She came in under the Obama administration, moved into the White House, National Security Council, and the OSP, that is the Office of Science and Technology Policy. Her job under Obama was coordinating pandemic preparedness and building biomedical surveillance tools like telehealth, remote diagnostics, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. She also, and this is where it gets terrifying, this is the crown jewel, says Josh, of her career thus far, her involvement in the Advanced Research Projects Agency for Health, that is ARPA-H. This agency is modeled after DARPA and run like an Intel cutout for the biomedical tech acceleration. The mission of this organization to partner with private industry to rapidly deploy innovations and innovations in relation to health. That is why she is now at HHS, and that's why they're bringing her in. Okay, so the translation on that is the mission is to bypass regulation and ethics to push risky tech and turn a tidy profit in future pandemics or bioterrorist events. Now, juxtapose this with Bobby Kennedy's statement on Tucker Carlson saying they were going to fast track drugs and advancements, skipping animal trials, right? And using AI in order to get these and push these out to the market. And then his goal saying that his mission at HHS is to have every American wearing a wearable, a biosurveillance device in the next 4 years. Houston, we have a problem here. We have a big problem. And this is why I have no patience for the trust the plan, give him time. You're you're a, what do they call me? They call me like one of those agents, a change agent or controlled opposition. That's what I'm getting called now because I am pushing this out. Put those things together. And this is not, oh, poor Bobby, he has a really tough job and the country's just not ready to talk about vaccines. None of that is true. They are distracting you. They are distracting you with false wins, false hope, false movements from what they are really doing. In January of 23, Maneras was appointed by Deputy Director of ARPA, where she has overseen an agency's the agency's $2 billion portfolio focused on high risk health technology projects. This has been in the works now, guys, for 2 years. All right. This is just a snippet of the entire thread. The thread is massive. It is massive. I unrolled it on my Twitter site, and it is linked in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show. This is a huge problem. A huge problem. The calls are coming from inside the house. See, this is what makes it so difficult for these movements, real organized grassroots movements, when our people go into the White House or get into these offices, because it absolutely neuters the sensibilities and the necessary tension that we should be feeling. I mean, if Susan Menares was the Biden pick or the Kamala Harris pick, people would be losing their minds. But unfortunately, the majority of the medical freedom movement is completely anesthetized. They are engaged in false hope, trust the plan, give them time. Another little nugget in the Bobby Kennedy Jr., Tucker Carlson discussion, they are the only studies that they are launching, which they haven't launched yet, but are going to be launched in September of 2024, are involved in looking at autism and vaccines. It's very unclear what those studies are going to look like. Bobby Kennedy Jr. says there's going to be massive transparency. We're going to show you all the data sets, but we don't really know what those studies are going to look at. And he mentioned in that discourse that we won't have the results of those studies until far after September of 2025. So again, moving the ball down the court, right? Dangling the carrot. We're going to get our win at some point. You just have to trust the plan. This is playbook Donald Trump. This is playbook 2017, 18, 19, and 2020. I know this because I witnessed it firsthand and I report on it every single day. In fact, I'm reporting the exact same things that I reported to you 10 years ago. That's why I can spot these things because I am a highly trained observer of these charlatans. And I am so sorry. Please do not kill the messenger in terms of the annihilation of your idols and your heroes. It is not my fault that Donald Trump and Bobby Kennedy are betraying all of their promises, right? You might want to look at the guys themselves, the guys who have power. They are millionaires and billionaires. We're talking about the president of the United States of America and the leader of the Republican Party, one of the most powerful men on the face of the planet, if you believe MAGA and all the Con Inc. charlatans out there. We have Bobby Kennedy Jr., who is the head of HHS. These men have power, right? Yet everyone's mad at me, okay? I'm the one getting shadow banned, censored, pushed back, called a CIA operative, and controlled opposition. You might want to consider, rather than focusing your ire on me, the messenger, who is simply pointing this out on a daily basis, and these are facts, you cannot erase them. All the links are there. Everything is there. Rather than getting mad at me, you might want to think about the guys who are in office, who made the promises, who are getting rich, they're getting powerful, who are doing this to you. Okay? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Massie 1996. Keep speaking truth to power, Shannon. We've got your back. You are the best. Thank you, Massie 1996. This is an important thread. I think everyone needs to get very familiar with how they are going to do this, because everything is beginning to click into place, especially the Elon Musk America Party Psyop. Now, we do have, I'm super pumped. I see that we have our guest today, Laura Bartlett, is with us. She has an amazing story, and we are going to empower you in the second half of the Shannon Joy Show, right? What I'm telling you today is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to light a fire under your ass so you stop trusting in people like Trump and RFK to save you and start saving yourself and your family. And that happens by becoming prepared. And Laura is all about preparedness. You guys are going to love this conversation. Speaking of preparedness, I do want to talk about, we have two more things we have to get to. We have to get to Elon Musk and this America party. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow because we are, oh my gosh, we are about 35 minutes into the show. So this is a big deal too. This is a new Psyop. Nicole Shanahan is involved. We have Mark Cuban is involved, Elon Musk. They're trying to drag poor Tom Massie into this. And I just hope he stays far, 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 far away from this new party Psyop. But as I've told you guys before, if you wait long enough, they all reveal themselves. Right? Everyone always wonders, is this guy controlled opposition? Is that guy controlled opposition? Is this person a change agent? Are they part of the industrial complex? Is this person intelligence? Right? I hear this all the time. You shall know them by their fruits. And mark my words, if you wait long enough, maintain your principles, they all show their fruits. They will always reveal it to you. We have seen it time and time again. We're going to do that tomorrow. Okay. I'm calling an audible here. But speaking of preparedness, I do want to talk to you guys about one of the first ways that you can prepare. We want to avoid entering the medical industrial complex. We want to avoid the hospital system at all costs. And that is, one of the ways that you can achieve that is through what I like to call chronic good health. And you know that my partners over at Native Path, they contribute to my chronic good health. I use all of their products. I love the collagen in my coffee. I love the hydration. I am such a fan of the hydration. I use it every single day. And I want to tell you guys today about one of the other products that I don't use as much, but my children absolutely love, and I should start using. It is Native Path Complete Protein. This is 100% grass-fed beef protein. So it's not whey, it's not soy, it is not plant-based. This is your way. As we know, we have to get protein into our diet. Protein is very critical in rebuilding strength, repairing and maintaining muscle mass. It supports a fast metabolism, a lot of the things that begin to slow down as we age. My kids use it because they're athletes and they're always looking for extra sources of lean protein, not the plant stuff, the 100% grass-fed beef protein. The best part about this product that they absolutely love is there is no bloat. As you know, Native Path has the cleanest products. These are the highest quality mix-ins that I've seen on the market. And because of that, there is no bloating and you feel great after you use them. 110 calories per serving, 20 grams of complete clean protein. It's delicious. My kids love the chocolate. They use it in all of their smoothies. We're a smoothie family. I'm going to be sharing some recipes. So make sure you tune in next week. We're going to be sharing our chunky monkey recipe, which is so good. The kids put this protein in their chocolate milk. They use it in the pancakes. They use it in the shakes and the smoothies. They absolutely love it. 0 sugar, okay? Dairy-free, no soy, no gluten. This product is on sale 41% off from our friends over at Native Path. It's an amazing product. You can go to nativepathcompleteprotein.com/joy. That is nativepathcompleteprotein.com/joy. Annie is going to pop that up into the live chat right now so that you guys can learn about this amazing product. But you're going to learn more as we go on through the weeks. It is another one of the greats. We absolutely love it. And you can get that now at 41% off only for the Joy audience and only for a limited time. One more time, that URL, nativepathcompleteprotein.com/joy. Okay, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to bring in our guest. I cannot wait to introduce you all to Laura Bartlett. We're going to learn about how to protect yourself if you enter that medical industrial complex. Keep it tuned right here. We'll be back in a minute. Sat123.com is an amazing company. Again, on the theme of chaos and cyber attacks, lockdowns, shutdowns, natural disasters, rogue governments, World War III, right? We cannot predict what is going to happen in the next 10 days, let alone the next 10 months, right? This news cycle moves so fast, and it's why many Americans are uneasy and preparing in a million different ways, whether it's gold and silver to protect your family if there's an economic collapse, to protect your retirement if there's an economic collapse, also getting food and water and those necessities that can, support your family if there is a lockdown or a shutdown. And right here, I mean, we're going to get to this in a minute, but Israel is in another lockdown situation right now. So this is why it's so important to just have everything prepared. And the satellite phone store, in addition to having satellite phones, again, if cellular goes down, the 5G, 4G, 3G, the towers go down, there's a cyber attack, all you have is the satellite phone, right? And it works, right? This is a way for you to be in contact with your friends and family to let them know that everything is okay. I have a satellite phone. It gives me an enormous amount of peace of mind, and it is going to work when those towers come down, when they don't. So many people have been blessed because of satellite phones. They've been able to bless their neighbors in natural disasters and emergency situations, something I've talked with Tina Blanco, who is the founder and CEO of Satellite Phone Store, about very often. You could be that one person in your neighborhood that could help people get in touch with loved ones if for some reason everything goes down. They also have generators and solar panels, Faraday products, Bivy sticks. Bivy sticks are amazing. It's a device that you actually use with your cell phone that turns your cell phone into a satellite phone, right? If the towers go down, and it's a little more affordable than a full cell phone package. But Satellite Phone Store always makes those packages affordable for the Joy audience. Right now, free Faraday bulletproof backpack when you sign up for a year with the Satellite Phone Store. So you get the free phone, you get a nice low monthly rate for the service, and also a very high value. I want to say it's worth a couple $100. The Faraday, which is the EMF blocking technology, bulletproof backpack. It's a great thing to send your kids off to college with. I sent one down to my son Jackson. He uses it. And it just gives me some peace of mind there. So sat123.com/joy, sat123.com/joy. As you guys know, I love the folks over at Colonial Metals Group. Listen, if you can buy a house with gold and silver, which you are almost able to do in the great state of Florida, given what Governor Ron DeSantis has been doing, not only with making gold and silver legal tender, but also beginning the process of establishing a state sovereign bank. Man, if you can buy a house with gold and silver, why wouldn't you back your retirement, or at least a portion of your retirement, with gold and silver? You guys know chaos is the name of the game. In fact, ever since the day that President Trump stepped into office, it's been pure chaos. Whether it's erratic tariffs, actually taxes levied on the American people, insider trading that we're seeing blatantly from this administration and friends of this administration, massive bloated budgets that look exactly like Biden era budgets and Obama era budgets, debt and deficit, the continuation of the printing of money and the devaluation of the dollar, inflation as far as the eye can see, and now chaos in our streets, right? It is all chaos. There is one hedge against chaos when it comes to your finances, and that is gold and silver. It's a metals strategy, whether it's gold and silver in your safe or in a safety deposit box, or backing up your retirement with an individual self-directed IRA backed by gold. This is what so many Americans are very quickly realizing is the hedge to chaos. They can do anything they want, but they can't come after your gold, and they can't touch your gold. And this is why it is so important to call Colonial Metals Group right now. Okay. colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy. Do not wait. I know there are so many of you out there. You have heard me talk about Colonial Metals Group, the amazing staff, how awesome they are for many, many years. and you have held off. Today is the day. Do not wait. I think that there's still a lot of room actually for the value of gold and silver to grow. And there's a lot from our friend Jesse Colombo and Peter Schiff on the fact that they're still very bullish on these metals. So it's not too late, but you need to get that strategy in place right now. colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy, colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy. They're giving away $7,500 in free silver to the Joy audience for those of you who qualify. This is a limited time deal, but you have to go to my page, colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy, to learn about that offer. Welcome back, everyone, to the Shannon Joy Show. Another piece of housekeeping. As you all know, Dr. Peter McCullough, he is stepping up, stepping out, speaking up. He is the voice that we need right now. I'm very thankful that he is speaking up against what's going on within this administration, both Donald Trump administration and HHS. He joined me last week for a very critical interview. I want to encourage you guys to go back and watch that entire interview. We're going to be running clips throughout the week from that interview, but he is also speaking. He's coming to New York State. He is speaking at Chautauqua, which is a big, it's a big, I guess it's a festival for discourse and speeches. It's somewhat left leaning, which is really interesting that he was invited to speak there, but he is going to be speaking on COVID-19 vaccines, vaccines and autism, and transgenderism, gender affirming care for children, in front of a left-leaning audience here in New York. I'm going to go support him. So I have decided I'm going to go support him and be in the audience for him when he is speaking. And I want to invite all of you guys to join us as well. I believe the tickets are free, but in order to get onto the grounds, it's a really funny situation, Chautauqua. I've never been there before. It's near Jamestown, I believe. And you don't pay for the events, but you have to pay to get on the grounds. I'm not sure what those prices are, but Annie has linked in the live chat the event page for Chautauqua. Dr. Peter McCullough will be speaking on Monday, the 7th at 3 p.m. Obviously, I won't be doing a live show that day. I will be there in Chautauqua with Dr. McCullough and there for his speech. But you are all welcome to come. It would be amazing to have friendly faces in that audience. And I'm kind of dying to see what goes on at like a left-leaning intellectual discussion place. Like my curiosity is just getting the best of me with this. So I'm going to be there. I hope to see as many of you as possible in support. That is October 7th, this coming Monday, 3 p.m. I'm sorry, why did I say October? July 7th at 3 p.m. in Chautauqua. Cannot wait to see you. Also, by the way, the big beautiful bill, as pushed out by Billboard Chris today, now includes funding for gender affirming care for children, child transition, puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and barbaric surgeries for babies. This flies in the face of the executive order that President Trump signed just a few months ago, but he doesn't care. He's going to sign the bill. He's pushing for the bill. And as always, this is the hallmark of Donald Trump. He loves the accolades and the favor that he gains from so-called saving people. But then on the back end, when it really matters, he's nowhere to be found. So they're going to put all of that funding right back in, rendering his executive order completely moot. And this is, I mean, rinse and repeat on every issue that has ever been promised to conservatives, Christians, medical freedom activists, and medical freedom warriors. I mean, over and over and over again. It's really disgusting. I will eat my hat if Trump pipes up like at all about this issue. But thank you to Billboard Chris. I warned everyone at the time that that executive order was fakery, but no one believes me, right? I mean, how many times do I have to be right about these things? Anyway, again, don't kill the messenger. Well, without further ado, I'm really psyched to bring into the Joy Virtual Studio my next guest. Her name is Laura Bartlett, and she is one of like the OGs, medical freedom warrior, came up out of 22 and has dedicated her life to helping families know their rights when they enter the medical industrial complex. She went to the extent of creating a hotline, which exists, which you can find. If you are ever in a dire situation, you can call this hotline and she will help you extricate your loved one from a hospital. It's the hospital hostage hotline, but it's more than that. She doesn't want people to get into the position of even having to call the hotline. And that's why she has put together an amazing form, the I do not consent form. It's at idonotconsentform.com. It is free. You can customize it. And this is helping families. Those who have used this form have had amazing care, respectful care in the hospital within the medical industrial complex. This is about empowerment. We're going to finish the show off here. Again, remember, they're not going to save you. You can save yourself and you can protect your family. And this is one of the ways that you can do that. Laura Bartlett, thank you so much for joining us in the Shannon Joy Show. You're awesome.
Well, geez, thank you so much. This opportunity to be able to tell people, like you said, don't wait for somebody to save you, save yourself. I'm giving people the opportunity to take matters into their own hands and not look for somebody to ride in on a white horse, hopefully, and hope that horse doesn't have a broken leg and is late and something else more important came up, whatever. They need to just do some preemptive things and it'll keep them safe in a hospital. You can
Okay.
almost have 100% confidence that a doctor will not give you a vaccine. Okay, they're still doing that. Vaccines, they're still doing remdesivir. Just somebody I'm helping in Florida right now overheard a charge nurse say, I am so glad, to another nurse, I'm so glad that we have enough remdesivir for the mothers and for the children. And she was a little disappointed they didn't have enough for everybody.
Wow.
Yeah, you still need to make sure you don't get those things if you don't want those things. I can help you.
Right. And under Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s HHS, we know that the COVID-19 emergency declaration is still in place and all of these protocols are still being recommended and deployed. So thank you very much, Bobby Kennedy Jr., HHS, Jay Bhattacharya, and Marty Macri, right? So this is why we have to take matters into our own hands. How did you get, Laura, you have an amazing history. You were a comedian, the inventor of the wine condom. I kid you not. She's an inventor. She's an entrepreneur. She left that endeavor, like so many people, during COVID-19 in 2020 because she realized how dire the situation was, and really began to do the deep dive that many of us did. Came out of it understanding that she had to help people, get people out of these terrifying and horrifying hospital situations. Can you just give people a brief overview of how you got into this, how many families you've helped and how you've helped them? And then we're going to get into that form and what this audience needs to do, not yesterday, not today, like immediately, right? But tell everyone about a little bit about your history and how you got into this space.
Okay. Well, like you said, very quickly. Yeah, I had a whole different different life before 2020. Did some fun things. This has been more gratifying, to tell you the truth. You know, they say laughter is the best medicine. Actually, you need a little bit more than just
Yes,
laughter.
I think so.
Um, but
Yes.
it doesn't hurt to keep your spirits up. Laughter is important. But my brother, just to kind of set the stage, my brother is Dr. Richard Bartlett, and I would not have been privy to any of this had I not been part of ground zero in getting the budesonide protocol known literally around the world, using my background, doing all those other fun things like
Mhm.
inventing products and bringing them to market, um, doing stand-up comedy, producing. I was executive producer of a stand-up comedy show in Dallas for 15 years, 15 consecutive.
Wow.
And I suspended something that was a lot of fun, um,
Yeah.
but during COVID, and I just never went back to it. People are like, you can do both. No, I found I can't do both. But it was getting the budesonide protocol known what got me involved in this, because I was literally traveling with my brother and doing media coaching and just trying to help get the message heard as far and wide as we could, because there was nothing else at that time. And by proxy, literally by proximity to him, patients were calling him from around the world because his number was easily found, and
Oh,
so they would call him, and I was privy to what those conversations, needed to be said so that people could be safe in hospitals. They had people in hospitals saying, "I feel like a hostage. I feel like I can't get out. The doctor's not listening to me. He's saying I can't leave. He's saying that I have to take remdesivir. He's saying there's no other choice." And I learned through that yes, you can. I'll give you some straight off the top. Let's not bury the lead. You can fire your doctor. You can advocate for better treatments that you want, especially if they're in the pharmacy like budesonide, which might be helpful if they throw something else on us that's a lung respiratory problem. You can, when you fire your doctor, they're obligated to provide a new one. So
okay.
don't worry about, I'm just going to be laying there in bed and nobody's going to help me. But the number one thing I found, let's do three. You can leave if you have the ability to leave. It's called leaving AMA, leave against medical advice, and there are several people I helped just leave. Matter of fact, the first one was in 2020. It was a gentleman in New Jersey. I'm in Texas, and didn't know him, but it was my first rescue. He literally had to convince his dad, who left in a hospital gown with a Foley catheter still attached to
Wow.
him, to leave bare butt in his hospital gown, get home to save himself. And would call that gentleman every 2 hours to make sure that he didn't die on my watch, since I suggested if it was my dad, I'd get him out.
Yeah.
And called him every 2 hours to make sure that he was doing his breathing treatments around the clock. But he was saved because of that decision.
Wow.
So know that you can do that. But the number one pro tip I want to talk about is to have a document in your record. As we learned with the Scott Shearer case, it doesn't matter if you say it. It doesn't matter what you audibly say. A doctor can lie. A doctor can record in the chart because they have control over the chart. You don't. You're just laying there in bed. You're just trying to survive. You also need to get into your medical or electronic medical record and give a family access to it. And they'll make it hard on you to get in there, even if you are the medical power of attorney. 3 forms: get a medical power of attorney form, designate somebody with a backbone who is a fighter, somebody who literally will not back down to a white coat who's intimidating you with all kinds of gaslighting and how many years of medical school have you been to and all that kind of stuff. Just look, they're service providers. I've got doctors in my family. Let's destigmatize the whole, or demystify the whole medical hero thing.
Right.
They're service providers, just like when you have a backed up toilet and you have guests coming in for a party. They're heroes to me. The plumber, okay, the plumber is a big old deal. So let's just get that over with. But you need to pick somebody with a backbone. You need to also have a document that I want to talk about today, the I do not consent form. It's a current caregivers and consent form, which never existed before. This is brand new in the medical space. And
Okay.
hospitals, they hope you don't know this.
Okay. And can you, so what I'm hearing, there are 3 items. Well, first of all, let's go over what you said. First and foremost, here's a myth. You can fire your doctor. Number 2, you can advocate for treatments that you want. 3, you can decline treatments that you don't want. I added that one in there because of our pre-interview.
Absolutely.
I knew that was there. And number 4, you can leave the hospital against medical advice. It's called AMA. But in order to be able to do those things, what you're saying, there are three critical elements here. Number 1, you need to figure out your medical power of attorney. That's the person who's going to represent you. And as you said, no shrinking wallflowers. Okay.
On paper.
Yeah.
On paper. You can't just, you're going to have to have it. You're going to have it documented. This is all about documentation. We learned from the Scott Shearer case.
Yes, absolutely. You also want to be able to get access to your electronic medical records. This was also very critical in the Alexis, in the Steve Kirsch, Lexi, why am I blanking on her last name? But the reason she lived was because
Friends,
Steve Kirsch, yes. Steve Kirsch got access to her medical records. She gave them to him. And that's the only reason she's alive today. Okay. So that's number 2. And then, And then the third thing is I do not consent form, and that's where you put this all in writing. So why don't we go over the form? What does it lay out?
God bless you. Thank
Yeah.
you, Shannon Joy. Shannon
Oh.
Joy. Everybody tune in. Shannon Joy. Okay.
Oh.
This is a big old deal. Okay. This is the form. I printed out one.
Okay.
It's predicated on 50 years of case history. Okay. I believe if Scott Shera had this since he was his daughter,
Great.
Jessica was
Grace.
the
It was
medical power
Grace.
attorney.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I believe if they had it on paper, in writing, you can't just say it. You've
Right.
gotta write it down. We ask you to notarize it, so it's stronger if it ever is violated, and then you have to be like Scott and go through this nightmare of a court case.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the doctor is the lever that you're going to apply the motivation, to,
Mhm.
because a doctor has a medical license license to kill in the last, 4+ years, but he also has a license to lose. So it's that guy at the end of your bed that you have to hold accountable. And people think you can't. You can. I don't
Yeah.
care what other structure above exists, like I've heard, the DOJ and all the three-letter agencies control hospitals. Listen, they need doctors, kind of like in a corrupt prison system. You need the
The guards.
prison guards, right? You gotta motivate prison guards. I'm telling you, I've got
Yeah.
more the patient will motivate the prison guard in this situation, the doctor, more than anybody above him, because
Mhm.
the people above him will not have his back if he gets sued in a
Mhm.
civil case because they intentionally violated your right to informed consent. So if you put it in
Mhm.
writing, I don't want remdesivir notarized and signed. It's already a choice. This is like a it comes with a cover letter, and it's going to be sent to, listen to this. This gets a lot of butts puckering here. Okay. Once they get this by courier, um, they have some anal leakage as the big pharma um, side effect.
Right.
Go ahead and know that is in the small print for the side effects. This will be sent to all healthcare providers for the patient named, okay, in the cover letter and your date of birth, all representatives, subsidiaries, parent companies, attorneys, chief of staff. Oh boy, chief
Mhm.
quality officer, medical executive committee, board of trustees, and it's care of the chief executive officer of the hospital. If everybody were to do this, they couldn't get away with any of this
Can I
crap.
understand this very quickly? So what you're saying is it is sent via courier to the CEO of the medical institution.
When you're a
And
patient,
right,
when
when
you're
you're
a
a
patient,
patient. And then that CEO is responsible to distribute this publicly to all the lower entities, all of the attorneys, everyone, every person that could try to wiggle out of responsibility. This is on record because it's delivered by a currency or by courier, and it's also signed and notarized in writing. That's critical.
yeah, you
Very,
see me smiling
yeah,
because this
yeah.
is this is the thing. This is the thing. CEOs want to keep their job. They want to keep their, I don't know what they get paid these days, but a lot of money. And they're tasked. People don't understand the hospital structure, but real quick, because I had a JDRN um, approach me as I was doing rescues and tell me that
Please explain the
I,
JDRN to the audience so they
attorney,
understand. Yep,
an attorney.
yep.
Yeah,
Specializing though
attorney,
in,
nurse,
yeah,
registered nurse,
right.
okay? Also, a defector of the hospital system over a decade in as a administrator who knew the inner workings of a hospital and how you get around these roadblocks because doctors would throw away, anything in writing.
Mhm.
During my rescues, they would go, "I don't want that," and they, do the Heisman pose, and
Wow.
walk away, and I don't
Wow.
want it, or throw it in the trash, or just leave it next to the bed. Yeah, so listen, this is the way you gotta do it. To
Mhm.
get around all that, you send it by courier. Go ahead and do your homework now, everybody, and find couriers.
Okay.
If you're traveling, of course, you won't have that, but, in your hot,
In your
your
pocket, right.
pocket. Thank you. Hot
Yeah,
pocket.
yeah.
We were both thinking the same way. So you've got to kind of think on the fly, but you got to have a plan. This is the plan, okay? Just like, for a house fire, you're going to stop, drop, and roll. We all know that.
Right.
Okay. This is what you're going to stop, drop, and roll in a hospital. You're going to say you went into the hospital for appendicitis. I had to check myself in. I've been a single mom for over several decades
Okay.
now. And I had to take myself to the ER. So I went to the ER, and if I were there today, I would do it differently. I would have this already completed, and I would have it already notarized, kind of like a will. Get your ducks in a row now before you need it. And then I would have it on my phone. I would have a digital copy on my phone because everybody brings their phone with them.
That's right. PDF copy.
I would also distribute my copies to 5 or 10 people that I know and say, look, if I'm in a situation in a hospital, this is the thing. I need you to do that thing, which is find a courier for me if I'm not able to, because sometimes you can't hardly even talk. You know, you're short of breath.
Right.
And you're going to send it to the CEO because he's tasked over all affairs of the hospital, and that includes the medical records. And so if he gets something in a courier package, he's going to think, oh crap, I am being sued, or I'm being, he doesn't know. He's in the slush pile of mail with his secretary, who gets paid very well to handle things like that. They're going to handle this first out of all the other slush pile. And then he's going to see that it has, all those names up at the top, they all know that this is coming. And this is part of someone's medical record. So you better get it in there, buddy. Get it into the electronic medical record, or it's on you. And you think that doctor isn't going to sue you if he didn't get some pertinent information of how he's going to treat a patient based on informed consent? And then if it wasn't in that record, and he did something inadvertently to that patient by, overlooked an allergy, because we have a section on there.
Right.
Just allergies, drug allergies, whatever. Also, any drug that he or she did not want, and he gave it to them, and all because he didn't know it wasn't in the medical record. A critical piece of this is getting it into the electronic medical record. And the way to do that, the workaround, is to send it by courier. We have a redundant backup, which is certified mail, return receipt requested, so that you have proof that someone signed for it. They're going to walk into the hospital and someone's going to sign. I don't know who that person is. It's going to be a different person, obviously, at every hospital. But you're going to have a receipt that, yes, you did know about it. Unlike Scott Schara, who said, I said, right? I said is a he said, she said. It's not documented. It's not notarized. It's not in writing. You don't do house contracts, real estate transactions, anything else in life with just a verbal. So you don't do the most important thing, which is your life, that way.
Right. I have to take in case you guys can't notice, I have like a tickle in my throat. I literally have like a tear coming down my cheek right now.
I got you.
I have to go to break. Annie, where are you? I'm like in the show chat. I'm like, Annie, I have to cough. Annie, I have to cough. We're going to go to break. We'll be back in a minute right here in the Shannon Joy Show. Huge thank you to our friends over at Native Path. Guys, get your collagen 45% off right now. It is great for your hair, your nails, your bones. It not only helps you to look great, but it helps you to feel great as well. This has been my experience with, as you guys know, devastatingly handsome Dr. Joy. He's very stubborn. He doesn't listen to me. I try, getting him on the vitamin D and the vitamin C and the regular protocols and all the things that are good for him. He's had the worst joint pain. He's super active, plays a lot of beach volleyball with the kids. He walks every day, is very fit. He eats great, has great discipline, but he was having joint pain, like a tennis elbow. His knees were hurting. And, about a month ago or 2 months ago, he was like, I think I'm just old. I think this is just the way that I'm supposed to feel now every day, where everything hurts. And I'm like, oh my gosh, just please start taking the collagen, you stubborn thing. And I finally convinced him to do it. And he will tell you that his joint pain is almost gone. Like, he feels so much better on the daily collagen. He has been on it for about 2 weeks. He gets upset if we run low, and he's like, oh my gosh, we got to get you more collagen from Native Path. And it's just one of those things, as you get older, I feel like just needs to be worked into your life every single day. And as you guys know, I take my collagen every morning in my coffee. The Native Path collagen is clean. It dissolves perfectly and instantly. It has no flavor whatsoever. So you don't even know that it is in your coffee. My husband actually dumps in a native path hydrate and then the collagen in cold water every morning. I don't know how he does that, but anyway, he does. Very easy to take, and the price point is better than any product on the market when you use the Joy URL. So it's getnativepathcollagen.com/joy, getnativepathcollagen.com/joy. I'll pop it into the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show. And right now, 45% off. 45% off. It's an amazing deal. They have 6-jar bundles, 3-jar bundles, but you can really stock up for a year with the 45% off deal. It's amazing just for the Joy audience, and they give that only to this audience. So thank you to Native Path. Welcome back, everyone, to the Shannon Joy Show. So sorry for the abrupt break. I have a little tickle in my throat. It's very weird. Comes out of nowhere. Came out of nowhere a couple days ago and attacked me during a show. We were able to go to break. And you know when you try to hold it in and it just makes it worse and worse. So poor Laura is saying all these amazing things and I'm trying to pay attention. And I'm literally like, my eyes are watering and I'm trying to hold it back. I'm trying to go to break. And then it just, like, when the tears started streaming down my face, I'm like, we gotta go. So Laura, I'm so sorry. You were saying such important things there and I picked up on some of them.
You're
Okay.
just choked up by what I was saying.
Exactly. No, but this is so important. The information that you are giving is so critically important. And there is a question here. Mav 2022 wants to ask about, can you have a process server to deliver the document?
I just keep it simple. I think you're talking about maybe a legal, I
Yeah.
would just keep it simple, and the cheapest way to go is just a courier. It should cost you about 30, $50. And the reason why we say courier is because it's the fastest way to get it there. You're also going to hand it to your doctor. By the way, don't overlook that. You're going to hand copies to the nurse. You're going to bring copies with you. That's why it's important to do this homework,
Mm-hmm.
is get it done. You can get things notarized at your bank for free. You can get things notarized at, FedEx, copy centers, UPS store,
Okay.
bill bonds in the middle of the night. I've helped people do that in the middle of the night when they were having
Wow.
surgery the next morning. They also have mobile notaries. You don't want to get stuck in a hospital and then try to do all this.
Yes,
Okay.
and I can say, I have myself worked with probably a half a dozen hospital rescues.
Oh,
We
God
just
bless you.
had our case, Joshua Shoemaker. By the way, update on Joshua Shoemaker. He was medical kidnapped at the Golisano Children's Hospital just a few weeks ago. They brought in Child Protective Services and
Mhm.
essentially terminated they didn't terminate, but they suspended parental rights while he was in the hospital because they were questioning the care. It was a whole thing. It was terrible. Praise Jesus, a week ago, they dropped the case. The CDC, we put a lot of pressure on the judge. We put a lot of pressure on Child Protective Services, and they completely dropped the case. Unfortunately, there's still some pressure being put on Joshua to undergo treatments against his will, so we're keeping an eye on it. But that CPS case is closed, and the family has full custody. But to your point, this is you want to make sure that you're keeping it as simple as possible, and that you're prepared in every way so that you don't have to call the hotline once you
Yes.
get into the crisis situation. And I've been in so many of these situations, Laura. The families are terrified.
Yeah.
It's highly emotional. It is highly frightening, and everyone is tense, everyone is on edge, and that's when the T's aren't crossed, the I's aren't dotted. That's when they can get away with doing these things. This is why the preparation is so important, right?
Yes, because everybody has crisis brain. Okay, when you have it's a real
Yeah.
thing where it's a fight or flight, and you can't your logic part of your brain doesn't work. And so what you want to do is you want to stop a doctor. The main problem with COVID was that they were starting things on you that you did that killed them. Okay, it wasn't COVID that killed them. It was the remdesivir. It was
Yeah.
which led to multi-organ failure. In Scott Schar's case, they put a fraudulent DNR. They did
Oh,
not consent to that.
right.
Do not resuscitate. If we have a clause on here because it's a current care consent, we don't say DNR because it would kick it into an advanced directive.
Right.
And let me say this, an advance directive is only honored legally when you are incapacitated. Well, there's a whole lot of crap that can happen to people before you're on a ventilator. We want to
That's
prevent
right.
that. And so that's
That's
what
right.
it's for, is to stop all that the moment you walk in. It only takes you a few minutes to get a needle in your arm when you
Yeah.
walk in. So we want to stop for me, I'd want to stop the shots. I want to stop all the vaccines. Any vaccine, it's not going to help my pink eye. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that
Mm-hmm.
crap on me. So you're not going to give me any vaccine. You're not going to give me any remdesivir. You're not going to give me a ventilator as a treatment for whatever the new thing is, for the viral thing. You're going to, if I want it, I can change my mind. I can withdraw consent. It'll have to be in writing because doctors are super effing sneaky. And
That's right.
what they would do is they'd say, oh, your grandmother, when she was sleeping, she kind of blinked, a few times and nodded her head and talked in her sleep. And I think we will interpret that as she said yes to remdesivir. So,
Wow. Yeah.
so the only way it can be revoked is in writing.
Okay. Very good. And no, you're mentioning a couple interesting things. No vaccination while you're incapacitated. I would say if I were to fill out my own, I would not approve any organ harvesting
Well,
for
you can't do that on a current care consent. We're very careful because of the the health expert that weighed in, the attorney nurse. It kicks that into an advance directive. We don't want a judge going, oh no, this isn't a current care. We don't want
advanced care.
any. So what we do is on this, get an advance directive too. Three pieces
Okay.
of information you guys need. You need three forms. You need a medical power of attorney. Get that done. Pick somebody with a backbone, like I said, not a weakling. And it might not be your husband or wife. Okay.
Right.
Number two might be the guy who sits in the cubicle behind you at work.
Right.
They're a son of a gun. Get that guy. Okay.
Yep.
Next thing is get a current caregivers and consent, which is that I do not consent
Form.
I've got to be careful. I'm not giving you medical legal advice. Neither is
That's
Shannon.
right. Yep.
Okay.
It is I do not consent form.com where you can find this form. Okay.
That's right.
So,
Free.
yep.
You can customize it. Put whatever your wishes are. But we do cover the life-saving measures is how it's worded carefully by this attorney nurse for her own purposes. I'm borrowing a document she used for that person's self. Okay. So this document has language on there that says, I consent. There's some consent and requests on here. And it says that I request and consent the use of all life-saving measures, such as CPR and all resuscitation measures. Wouldn't that have helped Grace Shera?
Right.
Okay.
Yes, it would. It would have saved her.
And also we have on here, I do not consent receiving any blood transfusions that contain blood products derived from COVID-19 vaccinated donors. Well, what if you need a blood? They're going to have to figure that out. That's not my problem. That's a hospital problem, but I don't want next blood.
Right. Very interesting. No, these are really great examples. And we have some questions on the live chat that I want to get to you rapid fire so that we can get to as many as possible. We're talking to Laura Bartlett. Please follow her on Twitter. Her handle is at OurPTRights. And you can get this customizable form at idonotconsentform.com. So that was great information. The advance directive is what happens if you are incapacitated and you're at end of life or that type of thing. So this is a separate document. It is current care. So you want to get an advanced care directive as well. And I recommend everyone do this. So here's a question, MAB 2022. Shannon, can you ask her, if you are incapacitated and someone signs the admissions forms, will that override the do not consent form?
Great question. General consents have clauses in that are super effing sneaky that say that you are giving consent to all like biologics, like that could be a vaccine, a drug, or whatever, if we think you need it. This is a carve out contract. This is a contract between you and the doctor. And it's what he should honor because it's saying, regardless of the general consent, I want these specific things. I don't want these specific things. Let's put it that way. And I'm requesting specific things. You can't make a doctor do something because they have a medical license, but you can absolutely say, don't rape me, don't punch me in the face, and don't give me any vaccines. And all three should be honored, by the way.
Absolutely. Now, here's another question, Mark the Regan. So to be clear, a hospital can vax you while you're in for an emergency if you don't opt out in advance, Laura?
the general consent, you were saying, unless you have it in writing that I do not consent, and your I do not consents need to be in writing. And not everybody has time to read all those things and strike through an initial above. And most of the time, they just hand you a digital pad. You don't even get it printed out. I recommend you do get it printed out if you have time. But hey, let's be honest, if my head is in a bag because it's been decapitated and I'm walking in with my head or my severed arm, you don't have time to look at small boilerplate stuff on a contract. This is a contract.
Right. So that will override a general consent.
Yes. And it's okay, prep. Everybody thinks there's absolutely nothing you can do with the PrEP Act. We're just doomed. No, you're not.
I hear it all the time.
Helpless, because there's one thing that it does not cover: willful misconduct. This would be a willful violation of your intentional wishes when you went through the trouble to notarize it.
Wow, that's a huge point. So you're saying in the PrEP Act, even in the
neglect is covered. But this is not malpractice insurance covered if you violate. It is not neglect. It's literally, I said, don't give me this shit. And you gave it to me. And you knew about it. You had foreknowledge, and it was notarized. I took the time to courier it. I've got the receipts that someone signed it for it.
But I just want to pause real quick. So in the PrEP Act, they provide a broad liability protection to medical doctors, insurance companies, staffers, nurses, whatever, because it's an emergency. But they do not provide liability shields or protections if the doctors, the nurses, the staffers willfully violate your wishes. So that would be provided to them in a medical directive. That's a huge
willful misconduct.
That's amazing.
Covered. And now talks about that. I don't know why.
I know, right? You would think that everyone in the medical freedom community would be screaming this from the rooftops. Yes. Laura Bartlett, you have said that people have used this directive and they have had great results. Tell me a little bit about that.
Read you this testimonial. I'll have to put on these ugly glasses. Hold on just a second. I didn't ask for this. It was posted on social media. I didn't even know this person used it. I met them at one of the speaking events that I went to. And I thought they were just like, yay, you for doing this. And I'll tell people. But she says, I will have to say that my doctor honored my notarized paperwork saying I did not want to be vented or to have remdesivir when I ended up in the hospital with COVID pneumonia for 6 days. Okay. Who had this experience? Ready? No remdesivir, no ventilation. And although he did not agree, I don't care if he agrees or not. It doesn't matter when you have a notarized contract. He didn't agree. I asked him to give me budesonide. So here's an ask. He got it. I heard about it through your brother, Dr. Richard Bartlett. He offered it once a day. And I said, no, I want it twice a day. And I said, I wanted it twice, and he agreed. Then I asked him for this. You're going to love this. Vitamin C transfusions daily. Who got that?
I had one of my dear friends, Aisha Kreutz. She was on a ventilator for 11 days. We had to hire a lawyer, an attorney to get her off and to get ivermectin fed to her through her feeding tube. I kid you not. Whoa. Okay. They wouldn't give her water. They wouldn't give her vitamins and minerals. They wouldn't give her, we asked for the vitamin C drip and they absolutely refused. Amazing.
They got all that.
That's amazing. Okay. Wow. Laura Bartlett, thank you so much. We are out of time. I really appreciate, I just want everyone to know that Laura is not paid to do this. She's not running a business. She's not asking for any money. She's not raising any money. She's not charging for any of this. This is just something that she has been diligently working on for so many years. It's a huge benefit. I want to encourage all of you guys to support the efforts and go to the website. It is idonotconsentform.com and get prepared. This is the essence of this show. Laura, thank you so much for everything that you've done. All right.
Praise
amazing. Yep, absolutely. Have you in again. All right, guys, that is it for the show. It was a little bit bumpy with the tickle in my throat. And I saw you guys get that girl a Zyrtec. I don't know if it's allergies or if I have, I don't know, maybe it's the beginning of it's just a little tickle. And it's really messing with my shows every day. But yes, great info today. Thank you guys for being with us. Dr. Margaret Aranda, thank you for being with us on the live chat. You guys are great. We will be back tomorrow. We are welcoming Aaron Day. We're going to talk more about Elon Musk, the technocracy, transhumanism, techno-fascism, digital currency. Aaron is an expert on all of this. And again, like everything else, bad things are coming our way, but the only way for us to survive is to be prepared. And that's what we're trying to do every day here on the Shannon Joy Show. So thank you to our sponsors, Colonial Metals Group, our friends over at Native Path. We love that protein. Also, satellite phone store, sat123.com, and PCM and Associates. And as always, a huge thank you to our amazing producer, Inez Annie Cyrus. We'll be back tomorrow to do it all again.